Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1. We will explain material about text definition and characteristic, written and spoken. Definition of text. Text can be used for both written and spoken language. It usually refers to a straight, an extract or complete piece of writing or speech. Text generally either reproduce convention and rules which determine the language and structure used in particular text type. Jadi, teks itu dapat digunakan untuk bahasa lisan dan tulisan. Ini biasanya juga mengacu pada kutipan atau bagian lengkap dari tulisan atau pidato. And then the characteristic of text. A written form of communication which is a non-interactive nature. 2. Agent is not crucial. 3. Non-interactive nature. 4. Grammatical cohesion and structure of sentence are analyzed. E. Usually in written form. F. Example, press report, street sign, document. Okay, the next material will explain by Shania. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Shania Sayyidati. I'm from TBIE. I want to share with you about spoken and written. And now the first is definition spoken and written. And then definition of written. Written language is not simply speech written down. Writing tended to be oriented toward God and service. And next, definition of spoken. Definition spoken language is typically dependent on its context than written language.
The next material is the discussion about characteristic of spoken and written language. Characteristic of spoken language. The characteristic of spoken language consists of repeating, first verb status, vocabulary, grammar, intonation, variation in speed, loudness or quickness, gesture body language, stress, rhythm, pausing and pressing, conventionally productive, displacement, and pitch ranger. Next, characteristic of written language. The characteristic of written language consists of final draft, density of content, grammar, neutrality of social rules and function. There are many of writing, but there is no single variety that directly compares to conversation in spoken language. Conversation, the most common kind of spoken language, is usually spontaneous, informal, and interactive. Most written language has some distinctive characteristics. It is usually planned, organized, and durable.
Okay, now the difference and the similarities between spoken and written language. The spoken language usually transient unless recorded, and speakers can correct themselves and change their utterance as they go along. The written language usually permanent, and written text cannot usually be changed once they have been printed or written out. The spoken language usually used for immediate interaction, but in the written language can communicate across time and space for as long as the particular language and writing system is still understood. The spoken language tends to be full of repetition, incomplete sentence correction, and interruption, with the exception of formal speech and other script form of speech, such as news reports and script for plays and films. The written language tends to be more complex and intricate than speech, with longer sentences and many subordinate clauses. The punctuation and layout of written text also have no spoken equivalent. However, some form of written language, such as instant message and email, are closer to spoken language. The spoken language is usually a dynamic interaction between two or more people. Contact and shared knowledge play a major role, so it is possible to leave much unsaid or indirectly implied. In the written language, the writer receives no immediate feedback from the readers, except in computer-based communication. Therefore, they can rely on context to clarify things, so there is more need to explain things clearly and unambiguously than in speech, except in written correspondence between people who know one another well. In the spoken language, can use timing, tone, volume, and timbre to add emotional context. Then, in the written language, the writer can make use of punctuation, headings, layout, color, and other graphical effects in their written text. Such things are not available in speech or spoken language. Some types of vocabulary are used only or mainly in spoken language. These include slang, expression, and text. In the written language, the written material can be read repeatedly and closely analyzed, and notes can be made on the writing surface. Only recorded speech can be used in this way. The next, in the written language, some grammatical constructions are only used in writing or written language, as are some kind of vocabulary, such as some complex chemical and legal terms. The next is similarities between spoken and written language. Both spoken and written language use a student's knowledge of the 5 components of language. It is pragmatic, semantics, phonology, morphology, and syntax. Okay, thank you from me.
Okay, now I will continue explain for my friend Huda. The material about the kind of spoken and written language. Spoken language, formal spoken. It means that we speak and express our idea, feeling, and expression directly in formal situation. Jadi, berbicara secara formal itu artinya kita berbicara dan mengungkapkan gagasan, perasaan, dan ekspresi kita secara formal. For example, speech, Master of Ceremony in formal ceremony, Sanjay's national ceremony, the meeting of president, and so on. Contohnya seperti pidato, ada juga sebagai MC dalam upacara formal seperti upacara di 17 Agustusan seperti itu. Contoh lain bisa dilihat dalam PPT. And then, non-formal spoken language. It means that we speak and express our ideas, feeling, and expression directly in non-formal situation, but maybe in relaxed situation. Jadi, non-formal spoken artinya juga kita berbicara dan mengungkapkan gagasan, perasaan, dan ekspresi kita secara non-formal. For example, conversation with friends, brothers, sister, and people who are the same age with us. And then master of ceremony and non-formal ceremony, Sanjay's the friend birthday party. Jadi contohnya seperti kita percakapan dengan teman kita, kakak kita, dengan orang yang seumuran dengan kita. Juga dalam MC, dalam upacara teman kita, seperti itu. And then is written language. Formal written language, it means that we write our ideas, feeling and expression indirectly in formal situation. Jadi artinya kita menulis sebuah gagasan, perasaan, dan ekspresi kita secara formal atau tidak langsung. For example, is certificate, document, letter of credit, letter of trade, and letter of sell and buy. Jadi contohnya seperti penulisan sertifikat rumah, sertifikat tanah, dokumen, surat kredit, surat jual beli tanah atau jual beli rumah. And then non-formal written language, it means that we all write our ideas, feeling, and expression indirectly in non-formal situation. Nah, artinya kita menulis gagasan, perasaan, ekspresi secara tidak langsung dan secara non-formal. Nah, contohnya kita menulis memo, catatan, atau penulisan di buku diary. Oke, thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.